Welcome to episode 6 of the Justin Johnston Show. I'm Justin Johnston. I'm a commercial real estate broker in the state of Utah, selling, leasing office and industrial properties for the past 28 years. This is Blake Moore. He's my compatriot here, content provider, and making sure that we get this all pulled off each week in a proper manner. And today, interesting, we just keep coming off of I guess to nail one topic down, and we're going to talk about several things with job layoffs, even though the economy and the market, the GDP is continuing to expand. Everybody's freaked out about it, but then some articles that are coming out that are talking about what these layoffs and a good amount of discussion that we've had the last several weeks is on this artificial intelligence, AI, and all the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
And so interesting, an article that we had came across, which if you remember, many times I've said, I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't know why the big tech companies are laying off 10, 12, 15,000, and the combined of the largest companies, about 150,000 different employees that the vast majority, I've been told, is in HR.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was saying.
very interesting that is the, well, I guess, hedging on that the market is going to slow down, that the Fed's raise of interest rates is going to halt business that they've got. It's really that because, of course, we did go into a recession. We now know first, second quarters of last year did go negative. There was a lot of things that were happening at that time. The Fed finally, with interest rates, not interest rates, inflation's going crazy, they start to raise interest rates. Yeah. They were very aggressive in doing that, but we now know the third quarter, the fourth quarter were expansive. We had expansion in the marketplace, GDP, the holiday season wasn't bad, and so, yeah, begs to, about the time that everybody was starting to freak out, we actually had expansion coming. Yeah. Now, we know there's some crazy things. They're still trying to cool off this hot job market, even with the layoffs. And we came across this article in Forbes.
Yeah, it was Forbes. I was trying to pull up where, because you said that a lot of them were HR jobs. I thought I saw something that actually... There was if not the same percent, then maybe just a little bit lower, were like data analysis jobs or something like that. Did you see that at all in the article?
Well, let's see. We talked about, so the 50, Microsoft, which was the biggest cut of the tech company, Microsoft, oh, no, that was a combined, about 50,000 jobs between Meta, Alphabet, and Amazon and Microsoft.
Yeah.
And then that was, a lot of times when you hear these job layoffs and cuts, a lot of times that could be worldwide, right? So maybe India was hit significantly, or the Philippines, or wherever they've got some offsite tech jobs. 80% of those jobs were in the U.S.
Yeah.
And so just maybe hitting some of the highlights of this is that record revenues all these companies have had. They went on the hiring spree during the COVID-19 pandemic, so a lot of expansion during that time period, and of course had record revenues and like many of the sectors, a lot of growth in that period.
Huge growth.
Amazon has always been quite aggressive on when they feel like they're going to get rid of their non-producing. They have always had some really strict policies that if not everybody has a laptop or a MacBook, and I've heard stories of them sharing, 3 people to a Mac type thing, when they could easily spring for it, I think, for what they've got going. But, they're running a tight ship the best they can. And with the crazy growth, I think they're really focused on who's doing the jobs and what tools you need to do those jobs without a lot of fluff in there. Yeah. Really interesting. And I guess here's the other side of this. it's looking like the layoffs had little to do with the economy, or obviously we had expansion, so they are not feeling it. Are they running the companies the way they should? I don't know. They've made a commitment to advance in none other than AI technology. And it looks like they're maybe what could gear up to replace a lot more employees if they have the payoff that they want. Very interesting. I don't know the average salary for the HR and all the different people that they laid off, but the investment in this advanced AI to expand what their businesses are doing comes out to about $1 million per employee. So 150,000 employees, X'd, 1.5 billion. Is that, am I running that right?
1.5 billion.
Crazy, that's what's come out, and that they all did it about the same time. So they're feeling a pinch, or they're having something like, hey, this technology is coming on. They were all aware of it.
Well, and they want to be the first to jump on that ship, They don't want to have someone else outcompete them.
Yeah, which I think they're scared. I think some of these big companies, they're like, whoa, Google. If you're not going to Google something, but you want something actually more than what Google can provide, you're going to go to ChatGPT.
Exactly.
And plug into this AI system, which is quite expensive. I mean, the more you actually look at what it produces on the back end of saying how things should be done or could be done and sound very intelligent, it is. Now, I heard on Joe Rogan the other day with this, when they were discussing it, that it was Lex, what's his name? Friedman. No.
Lex Friedman.
Yeah, Lex Friedman. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his
He was on there. He was discussing that actually this last version, which I said version 4 beta,
3 or 4,
but it's like 3.5 is what he was calling it. So to me, that's 4.
Yeah.
In my brain, they've expanded. And who knows, maybe there's some 2 point whatever in there as well. The point is, the big difference that happened between what he deemed 3.0 and 3.5 is that, I don't know if you would call it autonomous thinking. It was actually thinking. It was problem solving. So he said it's kind of a interesting note you could actually make, because he said, well, we're saying it's just language, right? It's taking predictive language, going out there searching. He said that has never really been done before, right? So he said it is thinking. It's putting things into account. It's taking market conditions or current conditions in the world, whatever, and it. You could ask the same question, essentially, is what he was saying, a month down the road, and it would come back with
different answer.
Different answer, new stuff implemented, things that it's learned with this open AI, right? It's open. Now, without maybe giving some wrong information, my understanding is Microsoft is investing in their own proprietary.
Yeah, and I think Google is too.
I think a couple of them are.
Yeah. I think Google essentially, what I see a couple years down the line is the Google search will essentially be what ChatGPT is. I think they might be scared of ChatGPT because I think it was I saw something the other day where ChatGPT gained, it might have been 1 billion users, or that number might be too high. I might have to fact check that, but it took 5 days to hit this certain mark. And Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of their downloads took months and months to hit this same mark that ChatGPT did in 5 days. So I think Google sees that and they're like, that's a search engine, essentially, is what ChatGPT is. They want to get in on that.
And maybe even leverage Google's history, right? I mean, so it can go out there, it can kind of on the back end be sucking everything that Google's got in their algorithms. And, we find from time to time that that can be manipulated, right? So if you're sitting there, I've thought a lot about that. How does this all come together? And who does it replace? How does it replace? We talked about who as an individual, but what companies too. I mean, if you're Google and everybody goes to Google, which I do often. So what do we have options wise? I found that if I go, and I better be careful how I say it because I hey Siri, how old is Mel Gibson? He's looking old. We were watching a show that he was in, and it's great for that type of stuff, for Siri.
Yeah.
But if I ask it some stuff, it'll be like, I don't know, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what I found on the web or something like that, right? And so if I really need to know something, I most of the time, and I think it's going to be a little too much for Siri, I just go to Google, right? I mean, I just on my phone or laptop, I'll just grab it. So at the end of the day, that's interesting. So who is it going to replace people with? Now, we talked earlier about this in a couple different conversations. There is a principle that's applied. A lot of people call it the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, which Vilfredo Pareto, I want to say it was in the 1500s, 1600s, something like that, Italian economist, was doing some research, and he found in one of these things that he pulled off was that there was, though there was a shift in different ownership of properties in Italy, that it always ended up that 20% of the population of Italians owned 80% of all the real estate. And he thought that was just crazy, because you could go back and, some people, it changed hands. Maybe some people lost it, but there's this weird magical number that it would end up coming out 80-20.
Yeah. So
it's been called the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. Some industries it actually maybe is 85-15, 80-20, 75-25, right? I mean, there's a principle, but one that seems to hold true above is the 80-20 rule. Now, interestingly enough, in the real estate business, is we have annual awards. It's a sales, the brokerage business is in sales and leasing. And to reward those that are doing well, we recognize them. And throughout the year, even January, February, March, at any moment in the year you can track, there's a 20% club, right? So to speak. It's called the 20% club. Sometimes it's called, the Rock Group, or this, that, and the other, whatever it ends up being. And that is 80% of the revenues that have come in through the door are with the 20% of the agents providing that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, as I've looked at these numbers in the past, and I'm sure it'll predict what will happen in the future as well, is if you took of those 20% and you said, hey, 80% of that income came from 20% of those people, individuals, which goes to, we just said 150,000. I don't know how many total employees each one of those companies have. It's a lot. I don't know what that represented percentage-wise of their workforce, but it's been said many times. You can let go, and maybe you can Google that as we're talking.
Yeah, I was going to Google it right now.
As maybe, even
Chat GPT it. Just kidding.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see exactly, and if we can, and maybe actually even find out how many employees they actually get rid of on an annual basis, right?
That would be interesting.
There are some people in the real estate business, from a manager standpoint, they say, hey, you've got to let go the bottom 15% every year, right?
Yeah.
That could be 20%, 15%.
So how many did it say Microsoft laid off? 12,000?
Microsoft was 10,000. Yep.
Oh, 10,000. So it says as of 2020, they have 163,000 employees. So what, 12 or 10,000?
About 8%, 7% in the entire
Yeah.
labor force, just on the what was initially sold as, and they're flush with cash. Microsoft's very flush with cash that they've got, because they just invested $10 billion in OpenAI. They say OpenAI, I don't know if that was their proprietary or not, but it's as they let off their employees, they practically simultaneously announced that it plans to invest $10 billion in OpenAI, the creators of the viral application ChatGPT. So the reason at the heart of the decision to invest that sum would equate to $1 million per laid-off employee in an AI company. So if you're in that sector, which we've said, I don't know how you get rid of the salespeople overall. I mean, because everybody's going to make a different argument, right? I mean, how many different ways can you differentiate yourself when you say, ChatGPT, tell me the best way to sell a product, right?
Exactly.
It's got to come up with a beautiful marketing slick. At the end of the day, you got to, people on the ground got to know there's relationships of providing those services to the people. Again, 80% of the revenue is coming from 20% of the people, and of those 20%, 80% of that income is coming from 20% of the people. Now, there's the flip side. We always talk about the income side. Here's the other flip side. 80% of the damn problems are coming from 20% of the people.
Yeah, from the
and of
bottom
those
20%.
Problems that are coming up, the things that are going to get you sued, the stuff that's sexual harassment, there's all sorts of other issues that come, problems, right? That will hurt a business. 80% coming from the 20%, and of those 20%, 80% of those massive problems are coming from 20% of the people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty interesting, right?
Well, and another thing that, this is a little bit off topic, but still on topic with the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
On my YouTube channel, 80% of the income has come from the top 20% of my videos.
Really? You just saw that right now?
Well, I've actually done it in the past. Because when I first heard about the 80-20 rule, I was looking, I was like, I wonder if that's the case with my channel income. And I looked, and almost to the dot of 80-20. I think it was like a couple point percents off, but I was like, wow, that really applies across so many things.
No, it does. In fact, it's almost as predictable, right? If you said you were going to take some statistical analysis, right?
Yeah.
And you sometimes you sit back and you watch people discussing this, right? They're talking about these big issues and problems, and if it comes down to it and somebody says, where did you get that information? What is right there? I think, and then they quote something, or they say, well, there's not really a poll, or there's not really this bit of information that we can actually show. I've come to find that this 80-20 rule, let's say you know nothing about an industry, right? But you are trying to get your arms around it, or how it affects you and what you're doing. You can apply this, right? And what you end up with is not always based on, let's say, a country or a particular company within an industry. Those companies that can hire a larger percentage of those 20%. Now, this does come to, so this defies some of that logic, right? You're saying, well, once it gets to a certain size, I mean, any company that's hiring their people, 80% of them are of little value.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're not adding. In fact, they're probably bringing more problems.
They're part of that 20% problems, that the 20% of those people are causing 80% of the problems.
Yeah, probably more so on that. Now, you
Yeah.
probably got a couple hot shots in that really high productive
Yeah.
that could get you
Yeah.
sued and some other things, but it's still a fraction, right? It's not 80% of the best, highest producing 20% that's making most of the revenues, right? That's what we're talking about. And so you can step back from it, which is a great time to do this, because what we're talking about is who is AI going to replace?
Yeah.
What are the robots going to replace? And so we don't know, right? We don't know exact jobs, right? But within that industry, and you could say, well, across all these industries, right?
Yeah.
80% of the people could be replaced if they aren't stepping up and adding value, So where do you fit, right? Where do we fit? So I know that we, not just by income and properties that we sell, have been in the top 20% that is contributing to 80% of the revenues. That's never been my doubt. If I can't be in that group, then
You're
change fields,
replaceable.
move on to something else,
Yeah.
right? And I look at it in lots of ways. Like if I'm going to do things to my property or take care of some things that way, or I've got to hire something out.
Yeah.
If it's outside my expertise, why am I trying to tackle this job or task which comes up with this? Well, for 5 years, I've talked about having a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
I could have tried all day long. I knew I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You came into my life, we were able to put things together quite fast, and look what's built up. We take your knowledge, and I don't have to think about it really, right? I mean, all I talk about is real estate and my experiences on this. You provide the expertise, and no matter what I did, I could not have done that any other way. The question I've always had is, where do I fit of that 20%, right? Am I 20% of the 20% that's producing 80% of that 80%?
Yeah.
Without mixing that up too much, I think you know where we're going with this, is that if you're in that realm, I think you're probably going to make more money, right? We're not going to pay these robots or pay, that's an investment.
Exactly.
They're not sitting there negotiating, we want more money.
Yeah.
Can you tell that I'm doing this? I'll take your legs out.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to slip and fall down the stairwell today.
Yeah.
You know, maybe.
Maybe
Maybe there could
day.
be some pushers,
Yeah.
you know, just for the benefit of doing it. They've got to where they actually get joy out of doing something like that.
Who knows? Down the line.
Who knows? But I think, but what we're talking about here is real. This is something I've dreamed about.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you build a team? All the dynamics of bringing people on. And I found for the most part, you start out really strong, right? So the companies I've had that we broke away, or companies I know, we referred to PayPal, you got Musk and that group of people that they were all maybe even top 1%ers, right? That's what they've proven. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you get a company that starts up, but as that thing grew, there became dissension between. Elon was actually, had the finger pointed at him that he was, difficult, unruly or hard to impress, for the other guys there. And so, there's always going to be that factor that folds in. I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of all those things and what makes it, but I think we can count on 80-20.
Yeah.
And then do you fit in the 20 of the 80, of that 80% of income and profits? And are you differentiating yourself that way, or are you part of the problem, right? The majority of the problem, this group that's soured and discontent.
Well, kind of like what Elon did with Twitter too. How he fired a lot. He almost fired the whole 80%. Yeah, exactly. He almost fired the entire 80% that wasn't doing anything. And if I'm not mistaken, Twitter's actually their productivity has gone up from what I've read.
Well, YouTube, Instagram, there were people that worked at Twitter, and I watched them. I'd never done that before, but when this came out, they would give a synopsis of their day. Yeah. Well, it's 10 o'clock. I just got in to Twitter and got my desk set up. I got my laptop on, and now I'm going to go down to the free breakfast bar and get a green smoothie and maybe some eggs. They do that. They report back to their desk, make a few personal calls. I mean, no shit. This is what they're showing on there, right? Yeah. And now it's lunchtime. And they call their other friends, make sure, hey, are we going to go up to the roof today? Yeah, let's meet on the roof today. And you bring the marijuana, I'll get the munchies and whatever, right? I mean, it's almost what they were providing up there. So really crazy. Yes, very interesting to watch that, because now some people said, hey, we're going to pull our advertising, right? Well, the advertising, we know how that works. 20% of the people who were advertising were paying 80% of the bill. I think they were affected, right? So initially, right, all the people that the different reporting companies, the different reporters were like, I'm off Twitter. I mean, some of it didn't even last 24 hours, right? So that was the medium. So it's proven. We could go down the line with all these different things. I guess when I said it was a dream come true, that this might be able to benefit us, is who benefits? Well, you can plug into the AI to make you more productive, find out a better way to do it, use of our time. Time's all we have to negotiate with, to say how we're successful and how we can spend that time, right? And we might turn that back into our businesses, take that extra time that we've got. But I've always thought, as I'm building a team, man, I got to be really sharp on whom I'm hire, right? And man, we got somebody in and they're just discontent. They're done. Everything they want to do is like to fight, right? They don't really come up with new ideas. They just point out things that aren't working, right? And it's like, man, it can take a group of people down. We're doing that right now. We're expanding. You have your license, so I kind of get a 2-for-1 on that. Somebody that's productive, that wants to grow, that wants to be part of a team that is growing, well, you're helping that in YouTube, and we'll help each other on the real estate, right? So we're helping each other on that. We have a gal, Mallory, is her name. She's going to be coming on. She's going to help us be more productive. She's going to plug into these different tools that AI has to make us more productive. And this isn't a small thing. I mean, this really is exciting. These are the types of things. I mean, computers, software programs have made us more successful and made our lives better in the commercial real estate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the people who know how to utilize them really make the money. I mean, there's people who make code, which I have no idea how to do, but they write code and they sell these softwares for millions and millions of dollars, which if we didn't have these laptops or everything running on code now, they wouldn't be millionaires. So I think there's the same opportunity with the AI. If you know how to utilize it, you know how to implement it, then you're going to make money off of it.
Yeah, so I think from our standpoint and our business here's some always a bottleneck, right? No matter who you are in this business, up till now, and I don't know how this is going to play out, you can only show so many properties in a day.
Yeah.
You start at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to show people all day long. Let's say we had a structure that was going to be, you're going to be the guy showing stuff, right? You got to open up the building, you got to get in there, you got to show, meet the company, find out what their needs are and everything else. There's a lot that we could do on the back end that had your calls that you're missing because you're out showing properties. Somebody could be taking those calls, responding to them, interacting with you to do that. How do we respond? Oh, here's a problem. And again, you're showing one company, one building at a time, right? It has to be that. They've got to go in there and see if it's going to work for them. Yeah. Well, we do have software that shows floor plans. There's virtual tours that you can take that will be one more component, right? Well, if we can bring all of these things in, that's what I see, is that the people that are not contributing under this thing so far, right? In our real estate world, that they don't want to go show properties all day. Yeah. And you mean I can do that all day long? I got to work my butt off, and there's people back at the office that are taking care of my emails and all sorts of other things. That's very difficult to put together in the first place. But then there's a lot of people that don't want that, right? So you can put a team together, and you can actually have that. And I had several people that reached out to me. Oh, don't hire an assistant. Get this virtual assistant. Yeah. I've played around with it. It's really hard for me to interact with that overall, but maybe with new technology, it's possible. So my thought is this, and what I can see this playing out, and I see it for every industry that's out there, but from ours, where we actually have to show property. Property is unusual. It is location oriented. If you want to be in Provo, downtown Provo, well, this is the spot you want to be at 1 East Center, right? Yeah. Anything from 1 East Center is one step outside of that, right? Yeah. You're still downtown Provo, but if you want to be on center, there's only so many buildings, right? Yeah. So it's very specific. It's location, location, location. Yeah. That's what real estate is. So, maybe you find a better location in the process. Hey, we thought we wanted that, but look at this. This is way better. Yeah. In fact, it's closer to the freeway. It's this, that, and the other. I think we can implement all these things to come in to where all of these factors are taking more time away of the back end that we have to do, because there's a lot of work that goes into finding these properties and seeing where it's at. And if it's a lot of times it's listed as available, and then you're trying to go out that morning and the agent finally gets back to you. It's like, oh, we leased that, and how do you do that? So that's always going to exist at some level too. We leased it, but you know what? Just next door, right? Or we find that out through maybe the agent wasn't able to. We weren't able to get a hold of them. Yeah. But they did do the back end stuff, and so as we're going out there, the space right next door opened up. So now we have two spaces. And all they did is make sure that it was on the market. We were able to see it, get access. Keys are a really problem. We know it's available. We couldn't get in there. Yeah. Is there an electronic thing you could use with their cell phone? The technology's there because it's being used every day in different ways. Having everybody jump on that is going to be interesting to see. I think if they don't take advantage of all the things that are happening, they're not going to be in business.
Oh, I agree. Go
forward. And I would say that is a great benefit to us and to our customers.
Yeah. Well, and I think too that, like we've been talking about this whole time, that for individuals or even businesses, what you want to do is continuously replace that 80% of your time that's not worth your time with streamlined processes. And then now you have that 20%, and now you want to shave off the 80% of that 20%, and you just want to keep doing that. And I think that's what's happening with every form of technology we have, whether that's laptops, phones, even DoorDash, saving time on running and getting food, whatever it is, we're slowly just trying to cut off that 80% with technology. And I see that as a huge advantage for people who can utilize it.
I do too. And in fact, what we're talking about now, and that's why I said what a huge opportunity, is I have tried for 20 years to try to shave off that 80%, right? Yeah. And to get down to that 20%. And sometimes I feel like I've put that team together, right? Because it almost takes a team. Whereas now a team being put together, what we're talking about, I think this is the first time. Because what I've come to accept is you can only do that for so long. People will get burned out, or they get sick, right? Yeah. We're all going to get sick still. We're all going to need time off. We're going to have family calamities. So that's going to happen, regardless. Well, when that happens in the past, sometimes those teams fall apart. I think this is going to be that magic dust that can say, hey, no, take time. You go take care of your wife, your kids, the issues there, right? Yeah. If we need to get a hold of you, we'll be able to do so. And you can also update us through these various ways to let us know what's going on. You still can do work in a place, right? Yeah. Where it was difficult even years ago to go on and post that something was available and make sure, and you know what, it was being advertised in the dang newspaper in the classified. And if you didn't have it in there, you didn't get it by Thursday, then it wasn't going to be there for the weekend. Yeah. All these things that are instantaneous that we can do and eliminate. It's always boiled down to doing it, right? So if we can do it with the help of these things, I see not just our production. We're talking about it from I see food production, restaurants. I mean, you can operate out of a smaller space maybe, right? Yeah. And the same thing, and you can get people in and out faster because of, that type of coordination on the back end. I mean, I'm always amazed when you go in a place and it's like, oh my gosh, you walk in and they say, it could be, one place says, we're an hour and a half out. Yeah. And you go into the same type of place and they say, no, it's no bigger. Like, no, we're rotating. You've got about a 20-minute wait. There's going to be a wait, right? Well, they've got a way that they can do it. Yeah. It's not that people are eating that much faster. No, they're just more productive. They're going to eat. People are hungry. They want to sit down and eat. The food's being delivered to the table sooner. Yep. It's getting cooked quicker, more cooks in the kitchen. Who knows? Yeah. Lots of different stuff. Lots of different things where people, even good operators can benefit. Even like the difference between, say, like Chick-fil-A and Wendy's. I mean, the way that a Chick-fil-A drive-through line moves compared to a Wendy's one, it's just night and day. It's a crapshoot when you go to Wendy's right now, right? Oh, yeah. So you don't know. You could pull up and there's only a couple cars ahead of you. Yeah, and it might be longer than it would take because you pull in and there's the Chick-fil-A and they got two lines coming, right? And you pull in and you're cars. Like, okay, you know what? It might take me 15 minutes, but I'll be in and out 15 minutes, right? Yeah. You know it's not going to do it faster than that. How the heck could they do it faster? Exactly. But you know in 15 minutes you're going to be done down the road. Yeah. And they've probably got all the food. I mean, sometimes I'll go, we don't have any baked potatoes. We don't have the chilies out. You know, it just seems like when something can't run well, it just permeates every ounce of everything you do. Anyway, very interesting stuff. Honestly, I'm embracing all of it. The more I'm hearing of this and the more I can let my mind kind of go with it. I don't know exactly where it's going to move, right? Exactly, where are we going to have to invest all the money? We just have to be on top of it. But these are exciting times. I feel like everything's kind of coming together, right? And I just don't see, if we get production to the point that, let's say, I think we're just going to see a lot of people that are going to be staying at home. They'll be contributing to society because they have ways that they can contribute, but not necessarily to work. Yeah. They'll eat food. Maybe not business-wise. Maybe. Yeah, they're not, but they still will go to the gym. Yeah. They're still doing some other things. Maybe more creative, artistic stuff. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they're only good, and it'll be good. I know some people that for lots of different reasons, either mentally, emotionally, physically, they can't work more than a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
Well, that means they don't work right now, right?
Yeah.
But maybe they can be productive
Yeah.
a couple hours a day from their home, and they're contributing in ways that they never could have before.
Yeah.
Through creativity, maybe they're actually very, very successful, right? In an environment that they couldn't have been before. So I think that's where I'm at. I don't want to limit where this is going to go.
Yeah.
Are people going to be eliminated? Yes. Does that mean that we'll find new places that they can be innovative? Yeah, probably. I think there will be some for sure. But at the end of the day, I think those that really want it and to be part of it, I can't even see certain industries that would be replaced. It's just going to change quite a bit, right? Some of them are going to be that way. So exciting. It's an exciting time if you're actually looking for a challenge every day. And we've said this many times. We hear it all over. We're built for challenges. We're built for hard things. We get lazy and sick and when we aren't achieving things that are difficult. If we're not solving problems, then what gets you out of the bed in the morning, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have people clicking on your channel and saying, hey, I really love this stuff, then you know you're not going down the right avenue, right, on a YouTube channel. So there's nothing more immediate to say, you guys suck, or hey, you guys are on the right track,
Yeah.
and we haven't figured that out 100% because we thought some things would be great or
Sometimes they don't hit.
they don't hit. We don't know for sure. But the point is what? We're trying to make it better in every way.
Yeah.
And I think this is only going to make it that much more. Anything else that we need to discuss or just talk about? And
No, I think we can wrap up.
thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We really enjoy doing this. It's been something that with all the changes in the marketplace, we're excited about this. We're excited. We just got to get the cameras rolling sooner because we end up kind of going through a whole dialogue before talking about it.
Yeah.
We're excited about it. This is a great time to be in business, and so stay tuned. Please subscribe. Give us the likes. It gives us a little more credibility as to what we're doing, and don't give us a cheap one. If you really like what you're watching and seeing, subscribe, like, and also below give us some feedback. We'll take any positive or negative or anything that you think would make it better. Thank you very much. Have a great week.